As timelines fracture once again in World of Warcraft Legion Remix, players revisit the legendary expansion armed with new systems, endless scaling, and powerful artifact-style progression. Choosing the right class and spec determines how smooth your experience will be, from farming infinite power to clearing high-end Mythic Plus runs. Below is a detailed breakdown of the best-performing classes across all roles in Legion Remix based on performance, flexibility, and scaling potential. Guardian Druids are tanks with huge health pools and passive damage reduction through thick hide. They perform consistently across all content, especially when you just need a stable wall of fur soaking damage. However, their DPS output and mobility are lower than others, and they rely on passive mitigation rather than reactive tools.
This class belongs in A tier.
Protection Paladin brings powerful group utility, immunity cooldowns, and off-healing, making it perfect for organized Mythic Plus and raids. Abilities like Blessing of Protection and Lay on Hands can save teammates, while Avenger's Shield provides solid AoE threat. It's slightly weaker in raw self-sustain compared to DK or DH, but its hybrid utility keeps it strong overall. This class belongs in A tier.
Blood DK is the definition of self-sustain. With Death Strike, Bone Shield, and Vampiric Blood, it can survive almost any hit and recover instantly. In Legion Remix, where mobs hit hard and content scales endlessly, Blood DK becomes nearly unkillable. It can solo elites, survive tough affixes, and dominate Mythic Plus. However, it lacks mobility, making it slower in open-world content compared to faster tanks like Vengeance DH. This class belongs in S tier. Vengeance DH is the most balanced and mobile tank in Legion Remix, with Soul Fragments for healing, Fiery Brand for mitigation, and Infernal Strike for mobility. It dominates both solo and group play. It's ideal for fast leveling, farming, and chain-pulling packs in dungeons. The only real weakness is its early-game squishiness before major defensive talents unlock. This class belongs in S tier. Brewmaster Monk is a very mechanically intensive tank with a stagger system and a mix of defensive cooldowns like Purifying Brew and Fortifying Brew. It can be incredibly strong in skilled hands, especially in content with predictable damage patterns, but it's highly situational. Mistiming stagger or defensive cooldowns can lead to wipes, and in Remix with endless M+ and random affixes, survival can feel inconsistent. This class belongs in C tier. Protection Warrior is a classic tank with strong cooldowns like Shield Wall, Last Stand, and Demoralizing Shout. It performs solidly in raids and dungeons, but in endless Mythic Plus content, it can struggle compared to Blood DK or Vengeance DH because it lacks self-healing and mobility. It's reliable in steady fights, but less forgiving for chaotic open world or infinite scaling content. This class belongs in B tier.
Now let's go for healers. Holy Priest is simple, classic, and powerful in burst healing. Guardian Spirit and Holy Word Serenity make it easy to recover groups from near death. However, it struggles with mana and mobility in extended encounters. This class belongs in B tier. Resto Shaman's Spirit Link Totem and Chain Heal make it a group-saving powerhouse. It's slightly less mobile than Druid, but compensates with raw throughput and amazing raid utility. This class belongs in A tier.
Resto Druid dominates healing thanks to HOTS, mobility, and utility. It handles every type of damage pattern and provides consistent healing even while moving. Its ability to DPS while healing makes it perfect for Mythic Plus and raids.
Mistweaver brings intense healing output with Renewing Mist and Vivify. It's mobile, fun, and offers great utility, but its mana management can be tricky in longer fights. Still, for experienced players, it's one of the strongest hybrid healers in Remix. This class belongs in A tier. Disc Priest offers a perfect blend of damage and healing, ideal for Remix content where speed and efficiency matter. With Atonement, you heal while you DPS, scaling perfectly with infinite power. This class belongs in S tier. Holy Paladin is a strong single-target and raid healer with great burst healing tools like Holy Shock, Light of Dawn, and Aura Mastery. Its utility cooldowns, Blessing of Protection, Cleanse, and Hand of Sacrifice make it invaluable in groups.
In Legion Remix, Holy Paladin scales well with gear and infinite power, but it can be slightly less flexible in mobility-heavy content compared to Resto Druid or Mistweaver Monk. This class belongs in A tier.
Now let's go for DPS. Unholy DK brings heavy dot pressure, pet synergy, and strong AoE damage through Epidemic and Death and Decay. It excels in long encounters where it can ramp up damage, making it deadly in both raids and Mythic+. The spec scales extremely well with infinite power and artifact-style progression, but it feels slower early on and punishes mistakes. This class belongs in A tier.
Outlaw Rogue combines high-paced combat, crowd control, and mobility into a flashy spec that's perfect for remix dungeons. With Roll the Bones buffs, each fight feels different, and Blade Flurry shreds packs of enemies. While RNG can sometimes make damage inconsistent, its utility and survivability keep it competitive. This class belongs in A tier.
Feral Druid brings steady bleed damage, good self-healing, and stealth utility. It performs well in raids or solo play, but struggles in AoE-heavy Mythic Plus runs compared to faster specs. Still, its scaling and sustain make it a fun, rewarding pick for skilled players who master its rotation. This class belongs in B tier.
Fury Warrior thrives in Remix because of constant uptime, AoE cleave, and Bloodthirst's self-healing. Once geared, it becomes a non-stop whirlwind of damage, making it one of the smoothest melee specs for leveling in group content. Its main downside is a lack of ranged options and a dependency on cooldowns for burst. This class belongs in A tier.
Balanced Druid, or Boomkin, absolutely shines in Legion Remix. Its AoE and multi-dot potential let it clear massive packs while staying at range, and utility spells like Typhoon and Solar Beam add great control. With strong scaling from infinite power and the ability to deal both burst and sustain damage, Balanced Druid feels consistently strong across all types of content. This class belongs in S tier. Arcane Mage can output monstrous burst when played well, especially in short fights. However, it's also one of the hardest specs to master. In Remix, where mobility and sustained AoE often matter more, Arcane can feel punishing if you mismanage mana or positioning. Still, for high-skill players, it can absolutely destroy single targets. This class belongs in B tier.
Subtlety Rogue is stealthy and burst-focused, excelling at single-target damage and crowd control. Its main strengths are PvP dominance and opening burst in dungeons, but in Legion Remix's endless Mythic Plus and AoE-heavy content, it can struggle compared to Outlaw Rogue or Havoc DH. It's very situational and requires skill to maximize. This class belongs in C tier.
Affliction Warlock thrives on long fights with stacked DOTs. Its scaling with infinite power makes its damage snowball over time, and it's nearly immortal in solo content thanks to Drain Life and Soul Leech. However, its ramp-up time and limited burst make it weaker for speed content or M+ farming. This class belongs in B tier.
Survival Hunter is a melee/ranged hybrid with unique tools, but it often feels awkward in Remix. It lacks consistent scaling and utility compared to pure melee specs. While it can shine with gear and the right group, most players will find smoother results with BM or MM. This class belongs in C tier.
Elemental Shaman brings explosive AoE with Chain Lightning and strong burst with Lava Burst. It's a flexible range DPS that scales well with infinite power. The toolkit includes off-healing, stuns, and interrupts, making it useful everywhere. Its only flaw is moderate mobility compared to top-tier casters. This class belongs in A tier.
Beast Mastery remains the most consistent range DPS in Remix. You can move freely while dealing full damage, perfect for chaotic fights and leveling. Pets can tank, heal, and deal damage for you, making BM a smooth solo and group performer. It lacks burst, but its uptime and mobility are unmatched. This class belongs in S tier.
Demonology brings incredible pet-based scaling. It shines when you have time to build your army and sustain them through long fights. With Remix's power progression, the demons get even stronger. However, the spec's complexity and setup-heavy rotation can slow down fast-paced content. This class belongs in A tier. Frost Mage offers the most control out of all casters, with Frost Nova, Blizzard, and Ice Lance keeping enemies frozen while dealing strong cleave damage. It's incredibly safe to play in Remix, where survivability often matters as much as damage. Though its damage ceiling is slightly lower than Fire's in pure burst, Frost's consistent uptime and control make it reliable in every setting. This class belongs in A tier.
Shadow Priest can be a monster in long fights. Void Form and Devouring Plague stack up absurd damage over time. It also brings strong utility with Mass Dispel and Vampiric Embrace. However, it requires ramp-up and careful sanity management, which can make it tricky for fast content. This class belongs in A tier.
Ret Paladin is the powerhouse of Holy Vengeance. Its burst windows, off-healing, and party buffs make it amazing for small groups. Remix's scaling makes Divine Storm and Wake of Ashes hit like trucks. It's slightly slower paced than Havoc DH, but incredibly rewarding. This class belongs in A tier.
Destruction is all about chaos and explosions, literally. In Remix, Rain of Fire and Chaos Bolt melt packs of enemies, especially when paired with infinite power traits. It's versatile, works well in both dungeons and raids, and feels amazing once geared. Its only weakness is its stationary nature and long cast times early on. This class belongs in A tier.
Fire Mage excels in both burst and cleave, with combustion turning it into a nuke machine. Its damage profile fits Remix perfectly. Short, high damage windows, and easy resets thanks to cooldown reduction effects. It's great for dungeon runs and even solo play thanks to Cauterize and Blink mobility. The only drawback is relying on proper timing and procs to maintain big bursts. This class belongs in A tier.
Marksmanship is all about precision burst. In Remix, it's strong for dungeons and raids where you can line up true shot windows, but it suffers in heavy movement or AoE scenarios. Still, it rewards skillful play and has solid scaling with gear. This class belongs in B tier.
Enhancement Shaman is all about aggressive melee combat and hybrid power. With Storm Strike spam and Maelstrom weapon heals, it feels fluid and fast. It scales nicely, but can struggle defensively in harder content. This class belongs in B tier.
Windwalker Monk is fast, mobile, and versatile. Its damage comes from fists, kicks, and chi-powered abilities, making it excellent for AoE-heavy dungeons and Mythic Plus content. In Legion Remix, mobility is extremely valuable for kiting or dodging affixes, and Windwalker scales well with infinite power. The spec's main challenge is mastering energy and cooldown management to maintain high uptime. Once mastered, it's incredibly fluid and rewarding to play. This class belongs in A tier. Frost DK excels at burst AoE and cleave, using Frost Strike, Obliterate, and Howling Blast to shred enemies. In Remix, it can handle packs efficiently in dungeons and scales well with infinite power. However, its single-target potential can lag behind Havoc DH or Fury Warrior, and it requires careful rune management to maximize output. This class belongs in B tier.
Arms Warrior focuses on single-target cleave and strong burst windows with Colossus Smash and Mortal Strike. It performs well in Mythic Plus and raids where cooldown timing is key. In Remix, its lack of sustained AoE can make dungeon farming slower compared to Fury Warrior or Outlaw Rogue. This class belongs in A tier.
Assassination Rogue focuses on bleed damage, poisons, and sustained single-target pressure. It excels in PvP and fights where precision and timing matter. But in Legion Remix's Endless Mythic Plus and AoE-heavy dungeons, it can struggle to keep up with more AoE-focused melee specs like Outlaw Rogue or Havoc DH. This class belongs in C tier.
Havoc DH is the most powerful and mobile DPS in Legion Remix. Its I-Beam and Blade Dance deal devastating AoE damage, while Metamorphosis boosts both power and survivability. Havoc's infinite mobility from Fell Rush makes leveling fast and fun, and its natural sustain keeps it alive in solo content. This class belongs in S tier. That's the full Legion Remix class tier guide. Check out our website for the complete article with all the tips. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more guides and updates.